This is Rebecca Lowe, or Rebecca Lua if you listen to Suboptimal Radio, and you are listening to Men in Blazers on the NBC Sports Network.
It's unbelievable!
Welcome to a Men in Blazers pod special. In the great tradition of Horatio Alger, Scarface, Yentl, and Eddie Murphy in Coming to America, this pod presents a gentleman who's experienced the American immigrant story full bore. A bloke who arrived on the shores of our great nation as a journeyman and carved his three initials into American sporting lore. My guest was born in southeast London. Football runs in his blood, fam. He's the son of Ian Wright, the prolific goal scorer and Arsenal legend. Yet his career in English football was a fight to find a true home. His fortunes changed in 2013 when he moved to MLS as a 28-year-old, arriving with a humility and a hunger and a desire to score a lot of goals. In 4 and a bit seasons with the New York Red Bulls, he's become the only striker in MLS history with 2 20-plus goal seasons, won a golden boot for each foot, and fired his way to become the all-time leading scorer in New York Red Bull franchise history. All while seeming to sort of shrug the whole thing off. This man's goal-scoring ability on the field has been matched only by his unwillingness to hog the limelight off it. This Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Network Fox, he and his teammates will take to the field against local dread rivals New York City FC for the Hudson River Derby, a game that's fast become a Gangs of New York rumble, played out in the alleys of 5 Points with knuckle dusters and nunchuckers. Before it all goes down, I'm thrilled to sit with him today, a man whose 3 initials, BWP, have become synonymous for finding the back of the net in MLS. Welcome to the pod, Mr. Bradley Wright-Phillips.
How you doing, Rog? Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, it's so good to be with you, Bradley. You first came here to these shores, New York, as a 13-year-old from Lewisham, South London. What is your distinct memory of that trip?
Statue of Liberty, my auntie's front garden in Brooklyn. A few lovely train journeys, they surprised me. There was a few scary moments on there, but all in all, a very good trip and an eye-opener. On that trip, I actually got a Metro Stars jersey.
The Red Bull's predecessor, listeners. In movie biopics, they call that foreshadowing, Bradley.
You know what? Every now and again, I think of it. And I don't know why I got that jersey. Me and my cousin, Carol, we came over with our grandma, my dad's mum, and we went shopping and we both picked up that jersey. I tell my mum to look for it all the time, but I don't think she can find it.
Do you remember whose name was on the back?
I don't think I had a name on there.
It was just waiting for a 99.
Maybe.
If someone had given me a Jeff Aguse jersey when I was 30, maybe my whole life would have been different. But back then, when you flew home with it, that jersey, would you ever have imagined you'd one day wear it for real?
No, not at all. I think coming from England, the soccer in US, we didn't see it. It wasn't televised. So it's hard to see that. I really got the jersey because it was a Nike jersey. And when I was growing up, if you had Nike, you were the man. So.
Your footballing career started in England. It was one of highs and lows. You came through the Manchester City reserves as a kid. You scored on your Premier League debut for City, but you didn't stick. Suffered relegation from the Championship to League One with a then floundering Southampton.
Yep.
In 2012, you scored 22 times for Charlton Athletic in League One, English third tier, but the goals dried up, you fell out of favour and out of contract. We all know you as prolific goal machine, Bradley Wright-Phillips. But when you look back in your career in England, how do you understand it? What was stopping you from doing your thing?
I don't know. I had a few stops and starts every time I go through a nice goal scoring patch, and then it would stop. And I'm one of those guys, I feel like I need a manager that when I do go for a bad patch, that they still believe in me. And if I have that, if I know that, he knows I can score goals and given the chance, it will come back again. I feel like I benefit from that. If I think I'm going to be out of the team when I don't score, or if I don't score for 5 games, I'm going to be out of the team, I struggle with that. I battle that, on the training ground and then coming into training. Once I have someone that believes in me, I feel like I'm the best version of me.
The mental side of the game. Was there a moment in your career when you thought, this football thing, it might not be happening for me?
Not as dramatic, but there was a time where I thought, I need to buck up my ideas. It's when I left Southampton. I was getting in a little trouble. I wasn't really concentrating on football, and I ended up going to Plymouth. Now, I had an amazing time there in Plymouth, but growing up, you don't want to play for Plymouth Argyle. It wasn't a dream of mine. No, honestly, it wasn't a dream of mine.
Even if you grew up in Plymouth.
No, let's not disrespect the Pilgrims. Honestly, they've had some good players go through there. But yeah, I found myself at Plymouth. I'm in the Championship. I got injured 6 months. They went down. So it was a tough time. And I remember speaking to my wife. She wasn't at the time. She had to impress me and, treat me well for a few more years. But yeah, I spoke to Leanne at the time and I said, when I get back from this injury, I really need to score goals. We need to move and we need to get out of here. And thankfully I did. But that was the only time in my career where I thought, you need to start concentrating on football and not everything else. And from that day, I knew when I really put my mind to it, I could score goals or I could play well.
Your agent set up a visit to New York.
Yeah.
Initially for a 2-week training stint.
Mm-hmm.
You've admitted that when you came here, you had doubts
Yeah.
about playing here when you arrived. Can you describe those doubts?
It's a scary feeling. I feel like when you play in England, there's an arrogance to the rest of the world to our other league's good. Will I get the same, recognition or whatever it might be. Plus, you're bringing your whole family to another country. So it's kind of worrying. I don't want to mess that up and bring my kids here and it doesn't go well for them. So it's a lot of things I had to think about. But when I did get here, they're clever. They put me in Hoboken. They put me in a W hotel. There was a car service to and from training. It was the middle of the summer, so it was a beautiful time. I couldn't really say no, once I got here.
So that was what changed your mind?
Yeah, just how it was. When I got here, the facilities were amazing. I came to Red Bull Arena. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect the training ground to look how it did.
So it was the facilities, the standard of the stadium,
Yeah,
the standard of the
everything. It just clarified to me that, they're doing the same thing here that I see at home and even better. There's some places I played in England that don't have these facilities. So it almost gave me a comfort, and not to mention Thierry Henry was there, Tim Cahill, Juninho. Who am I to be playing with these kind of players? So
Is it fair to say that 2-week training session changed your life? I mean, 1 minute, you were unable to get a minute in League One. The next, you, a childhood Arsenal fan, right?
Yeah.
A Thierry Henry strike partner. Did you
Yeah.
feel like Alex Hunter for real?
Yeah, it was crazy. I won't lie about that. It was crazy. Just learn what I could in the 2 weeks and, before I know it, I was signed.
Oh, it would be like me playing week in, week out with Tony Hibbert. But your first full season in MLS, charging onto Henry's passing with tireless, intelligent runs, you just went on a campaign-long scoring rampage.
Yeah.
Found the back of the net 27 times.
Yeah.
You equalled the MLS single-season goal record. After stalling for so long career-wise, you had the season of your life.
Yeah.
Emotionally, how did that feel?
It was nice for me, personally. I didn't start that season out thinking I was going to be top goal scorer. I don't think too far ahead. I like to try and build up a nice form, try and get my form on the field good, then I think about goals. But yeah, after that season, it was nice. I felt like I'd helped the team, achieve something. Before I came, I only played half the season. They won the Shield, but I didn't feel part of it. That season, 2014, I had done my job and it was nice. But playing with Thierry made it very easy.
Nice. You're a lovely man. Nice is a word that my mother uses when she doesn't really want to go there. I mean, I'm trying to think about your career. You had dreams. Those dreams were not met or actualised in England. You come over here and you are scoring week in, week out. Your hero is pulling the strings behind you. You must have felt an enormous sense of vindication.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, it was nice. I don't know, man. I don't get too excited about things, and I try not to get too down about things. It was amazing. When my son's older and I will tell them about this specific moment you're talking about. But
when you're living it, it's not a time for stories.
Exactly. My job isn't done yet. I still feel like I can do a lot more.
You were once asked what you learned from your time with Thierry in training, and you said that the game was like a science to him, and that you were surprised how much he cares about the little things.
Yeah.
Can you give us some examples of the little things?
Okay, so with me, someone plays me through in on goal, the defender comes and muscles me out the way, and I don't have a chance anymore. With Thierry, he'll get me in the change room after and say, no, when you're running, you now cut across him or put your right foot there. he'll bounce off you, slows down, and then you get 2 more seconds to actually finish the ball. And things like this, I would never think. I would either think I'm quicker than this guy, I'll beat him, or he was quicker than me. That's just one example. He thinks like so far ahead that is. I know why he's amazing. I thought it was just God-given talent, but it isn't. He thinks so different.
So you were playing with pure pace, and he broke the game down, even to you, a seasoned pro, how to control the ball. He
just
taught you
what to do before you control it, even before you control the ball, like which angle you should run at. It was crazy to hear some of the things he said.
So he made you look at the game completely different.
So different, yeah. So different.
He left MLS after that season, Thierry.
Yeah.
The consensus was your ability to score would disappear along with him.
Yeah.
Journalists even had a name for it. They talked about the Henry effect. Did that piss you off?
It did. I think this may be the first time I'm admitting it, but it did, because obviously not at amazing ratio, but I've scored goals before. I've had 20 goal seasons, in England, and I wasn't always playing with Thierry. So it's frustrating, but then I realized people that want to say something negative, they will always. There's nothing you can do, but that did make me want to score goals. And I think for that, the season after, I only got 17. And for me, that's good. That's a 1 in 2, I think. But it still wasn't enough to shut them up. But then I realized even if I did, they would have found something else. They would have said, oh, it's because of Sasha. So you can't please those kind of people. The people I made happy are the people that will always be happy for me.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when I look at the numbers, you defied the consensus and then some, Bradley. I mean, you littered 41 goals over the 2 seasons that followed. And I love how you once talked about the mental approach to a season in that time. You said, I look for my own target that I set in my head at the beginning of the season. Once I get there, that's when I start enjoying scoring.
Exactly.
But if you see me score now, I'm not going to be happy. I won't over-celebrate because I still have a ways to go where I want to get.
Yeah, I don't really celebrate. Like I said, I have that target in my head and I'm not there yet. Also, if my form isn't good on the field, if I don't feel sharp, sometimes I almost feel like I didn't deserve a goal, and I just almost just high five, congratulate the person that assisted me, and then I'll chill out. I got to be somewhere, a place in my head where I'm happy and feel comfortable to really enjoy scoring.
When I hear you talk, 2 footballers come to mind. Mario Balotelli, who once infamously said about the emotions he feels when he scores goals. He said, when I score, I don't celebrate because it's my job. Yeah. When a postman delivers letters, does he celebrate? And then on the other hand of the spectrum, Diego Forlan, who once described the joy of scoring as, quote, better than an orgasm.
I don't know about that.
So between Balotelli on one end and Forlan on the other.
Yeah, I'm more into Balotelli, but not as... I get what he's saying. I fully understand what Balotelli's saying. I'm not going to lie and say it doesn't feel amazing. I want to score every game, but I do understand that that's what I should be doing. And you can only see that when you don't score, the pressure you get, and when you do score, the pressure you get. And it tells you that you should be scoring, but when you don't, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain how I feel in my mind about goal scoring, because it is very important to me. But just some points in the season, it isn't everything to me. There'll be a point in the season where goal scoring is everything, but not throughout the season. I'm not one of those strikers. My dad goes mad at me for that. I just get a text yesterday. He was like, oh, well done on the goals. I was like, I was effing rubbish. And he was just like, what are you talking about? You scored how many goals in how many years? People only judge you on goals. And every now and again, he has to put that in my mind, because that's how I think about things. I think I'm one of the only strikers that doesn't purely just score about goals. And I think if I did, I would be a better player, honestly.
It's Henry's fault. He's got you thinking about how you control the ball.
He's trying to make me be like him when I can never be like him. I've got to humble myself and just know what I'm capable of.
So, but you do think if you just thought purely about output, you would be a better player?
I think I could be not a better player, maybe a more devastating goal scorer, maybe. Sometimes if I'm through and going, I hear someone call me, I will try and get the ball to them. You'll see me mess up a lot of plays like that. I'm not very single-minded, and I think strikers have to be.
See, it's astonishing, because the only thing I do in my life, like you score goals, is eat pies. I mean, you have etched the initials BWP into MLS's record books. You're the first player in MLS history to score at least 20 goals in multiple seasons. You had a 27-minute hat-trick against Toronto, fastest from the opening whistle in MLS history. You're the Red Bulls' leading all-time scorer. What is it that you do? What is the secret to the art of scoring as many goals as you do, Bradley?
Movement that's my most enjoyable thing about the game. Other than scoring, it's my most enjoyable. I love movement. Growing up, I watch my dad's videos. Robbie Keane, all those kind of players that were very good with movement. But that's what I base my game on. So when I score off a movement. I like to trick defenders or try and find space, and I think that's how I manage to score goals. You won't see me dribble past two players and curl it in the top corner. That's just not what I'm like. I like to evade defenders and make clever runs.
You're listed at 5'8".
Nah, I'm 5'9" at least.
I said listed because to me when you walked in I thought 5'11".
Yeah, thank you.
But you're listed. You're listed at 5'8", and you ply your trade in the penalty area where there's big bruising bodies flying. There's just no space to be found. Watching you seem to make time freeze. You appear so calm. Mentally, with your movement, what are you thinking as you make your runs into the box, making that ball just suddenly appear at your feet?
I work on leaving it as late as possible, especially in the box. Not with runs, into the final third. In the box, I try and work on leaving it as late as possible, because that just gives me a little more time to see the ball coming. I feel like whenever I've run to like the near post too quick, or I've got in the box too quick, it will be behind you, or you don't have enough time to really direct your shot. So I try and leave it as late as possible, and that way you can see the ball coming all the way to you and try and pick a corner.
In good times, you've told me that when you're on a scoring run,
yeah,
you go about life where you feel that you cannot miss.
Yeah, it's so weird. That goal scoring is so weird. There are times where I know in the morning I'm going to score. And it's so crazy to think, because when you're going through a bad patch, the goal seems like it's this big. Like, you can't score. So it's so weird what confidence and just being in the groove, how well it will do for you on the field. It's so weird.
You know the morning before a game, you know that Bradley Wright-Phillips is going to be on the score sheet.
Yeah, there was some day when I'd had like 3 goals in 3 games or something, I knew I would wake up and feel like I was going to score. And then I'm very superstitious, so a friend would text me and say, I feel like you're going to score today, and I bring that with me, and I think, yeah, he knows too, and I take that with me, and it's weird. But then when you can't score it, it's so hard to find a goal.
I mean, for the past 46 consecutive years, I've woken up every morning thinking I can't score today, so I can't even imagine.
No, but I've been on that side too, where I feel like I'm not going to score. I'll go to the game like, today I'm just going to have to work hard, because I don't feel like I'll get goals.
Last season, you were in a goal drought.
I'm always in a goal drought. There will be a time where I'm in a goal drought.
You changed it up in a remarkable way. You married your long-time life partner.
We shouldn't say this because she likes to take credit as it is, but yeah, I think after that wedding...
the goals just flowed.
But you know what? That was actually leading up to that whole thing. That was a stressful time. We had a lot of family over. A lot of family.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, people in and out the house.
I wanted to know, was it the release of being married that led to the goal scoring? Or was it just the stress of the wedding that was stopping you from goal scoring?
When the last person left, I think I must have scored. I think when that person got on the flight, I was like, all right, can I concentrate on football?
I watched you and your team toil against 10 men, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You were goalless into the 87th minute. And then with 3 defenders in front of you in the box, you pointed where you wanted the ball, charged through.
Yeah.
Each of them stabbed the ball home. Minutes later, you grabbed the second, your 8th goal of the season, 4 in your last 4 games, as many as you had in the 12 matches before that. As you approach this weekend's big New York Derby clash, what's changed for you in this Red Bulls team that's allowed the goals to suddenly start flowing?
I don't know, because I didn't know personally I was 4-4. But I think we've been working on a lot of attacking plays, attacking options, our fluidity in the final third, and it seems to have come together a little bit more than it had in the beginning of the season. So we want to bring, the same kind of energy, the same kind of movement, a little bit of a better performance in, Philly. Obviously it was away, but I don't think we were good. Yeah, so I think we need to just bring a little bit more fluidity in the final third.
Hudson River Derby.
Yeah.
We're 3 years into this rivalry.
And we've played about 30 times. It's crazy.
I think the actual number is 73. You played more in the 3 years than like the whole Merseyside derby over its 121-year history. Yeah. But before the game, inside that Red Bull locker room, does it feel different, or is it just another game to the players?
It's definitely not another game. There was something that that came with this derby. When I first knew they were coming into the league, I was excited about it. I didn't think it would be as big as it got, and it's good. It's good. It's very good. When before the game, I have a little bit of butterflies. I'm kind of nervous. You don't want to lose those kind of games. For the fans and obviously for the 3 points and the bragging rights. So it definitely has a different feel.
I mean, in a way, it's not just a clash between 2 local rivals. separated by 20 miles as the crow flies, with New York City FC as the kind of newcomer, the upstart, the satellite of English Premier League Petro Power Manchester City, coached by World Cup legend Patrick Vieira, with a big money, big name roster, against you guys, kind of scrappier, slightly less plushly resourced Red Bull team. As a player, do you feel that this is kind of like a clash of footballing philosophies? It
definitely is. I think the way both teams view the game, or the way we play the game, our tactics, everything is different. And on the day it always comes down to who's going to nail their tactics, who's going to do their job better. And so far we've come out on top, but they're a very good team. They're tough to play against, and because they're so good, it brings out the best in us.
In the course of the past 6 games, City has most definitely been red. NYCFC, they've got the names, the money, but you have a record of 5-1 in league play.
Yeah.
You had one singular 7-0 victory. You personally have outscored NYCFC 8-5 in the entire span of the series.
Yeah, it's lucky.
But your coach, Jesse Marsh, he's called this NYCFC team the best that they've ever fielded. What do you see when you watch them play?
They're a team that like to pass from the back. They've obviously got a great goal scorer and a great player. They're very tough to play against. They like to pass. We pride ourselves on high pressure, and they do make it hard for us because their players go right to the edge of their box, and they go far, right to the end line, and we have to cover all of that space. So they're tough to play, and if our press is not on and they break us down, they're literally in on goal. So everything has to be done to a T.
You talk about their goal scorer. We're talking about the man who just pipped you for the MVP last season, David Villa, a bloke who's won World Cups, Champions Leagues, and could really just come here and jog through games.
Yeah.
But watching him, I'm blown away by the hunger, the desire that he still has to score goals, to win games week in, week out. How do you understand it? What is it that still drives him?
Yeah, I think that's just a mentality he must have had as a kid. Because when he first came out, I did think, I don't think this guy will work for the team. I didn't think he would celebrate if he scored. I honestly didn't think he would be too bothered. It's an honour to just see him respect the league, the players he's playing against, and giving his all, because I wouldn't say he doesn't have to, but if he didn't, I don't think anyone would have a bad thing to say about him.
It's no one-man team. NYCFC also feel 20-year-old delight. I adore this man, Jack Harrison, young Englishman who came here at a young age, started his career in MLS. Does any part of you wish that you'd done that?
Yeah, I've thought about it. I'm not sure, because I feel like your story is your story. Maybe it took what happened to me in England to come here and do well, So I don't think I'll change it, but I would advise young guys, if they're not getting a look in England, to come over here, do the college route and go from there, because it can work. Look at Jack Harrison, he's a top player.
The game is on Fox proper, and an amazing statistic. You have played 16 times on Fox. Do you know how many goals you've scored when you've been on the big network?
No.
14 goals in 16 games. You love the big Fox cameras. What is it that brings out the goals for you?
I don't know. I always used to tell Julie and Taylor Twelman, I know they're on ESPN now, but I used to tell them they were my lucky charms. I don't know what it was. I don't know why, but like I told you, I'm superstitious. If something happens once, I want it to happen again, and it might have something to do with it.
But there is something, when I heard that statistic, Bradley, there is something about the big platform, the big occasion, and what psychologically that does for your performance.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing, when you got in a big game, like when we play in New York City. I don't mean to, but I try to focus more. There's a will to not want to disappoint, or a will to be even hungrier to get goals. And I think being on the national TV is kind of similar to that.
We will see. We will see.
Do not jinx me.
Don't look at me. Don't look me in the eye and you won't be jinxed. Look away. You're now 32. You've proven yourself as a goal scorer and then some. Is any part of you tempted to return to England?
Nah, not yet. I'm saying it like I've got time, but no. So far, I haven't thought about going to England. I don't miss it. It's almost like I've been there, done that, And
when you watch Premier League football, Bradley, how do you experience it? Do you look at it as a fan, or do you look at it as a professional footballer and think, what if?
Nah, I more watch it as a fan now. I'm a big Arsenal fan. I wake up in the morning and watch those games. I definitely look at it as a fan. I don't really think what if or do I want to go over there and try and play? You know, that I've heard one or two things, but it just doesn't really interest me that much. You know, honestly doesn't interest me that much anymore. Also, I think the best Premiership days, they're gone, man. I miss those, you know, the old school days, Alan Shearer, those kind of days, they're gone.
You mean the vintage Premier League
vintage
days?
Premiership, yeah. I feel like it's almost not the same, you know.
It's true.
We've got players hugging in the tunnel, big derbies. It's just not the same to me. I
You
like when they used to.
You like the Keane
I like when
Vieira
there was
days.
beef, yeah, exactly. And it's
I'm expecting some of that from you on Saturday in the tunnel.
It will be like that.
You know, thinking about your relationship to England, I'm reminded of something that you said when you signed your first big DP contract here in the United States. You talked lovingly about the house that you bought in New Jersey.
Yeah.
You said, I've got a driveway in the front. I love it. It looks like a movie. I mean, I thought as someone that grew up in Liverpool watching American
movies. You know
movies,
what I mean, though? It's like,
I just know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. It's that kind of American life, you know, nice backyard. Look at me talking like an American. Yeah, nice garden, nice driveway, space for the kids to play, and it's nice. It's a dream.
I mean, it is a dream. And in some way, you've not just fitted here in the United States, but you've thrived, you've excelled, you've fulfilled all of the potential you showed as a kid. As you drive around the tri-state area, as you take to the field here at Red Bull Stadium, as you get called up to all-star team after all-star team, do you feel like you're living in a movie?
Nah, not really. Not really. Only the neighborhoods and cul-de-sacs remind me of that, you know. Even my family, we go to the Plaza every Christmas, you know, to have like a Home Alone, a Kevin McAllister Christmas. It's ridiculous, but I love it. It's great.
Oh, because when I think about your life, I do think about the Goal movie, that you are Santiago Munez, but in reverse. In many ways, I do think you're living the American dream. And I want to come back to you to finish, to Team BWP, buying that Metro Star jersey when you're over here on vacation. If there's any out of contract, out of favour English players listening to this pod, and they're about to travel to New York now and pick up a Red Bull jersey with your name and number 99 on the back, what would be your message to them?
Come over. It can work for you. You know, I feel like we see players, and a certain league might not be suited for you. It might not be for you, or the manager or whatever. It might not be suited for you. But if you're in a League One or League Two, even Championship, I think if you're not enjoying it, there's something you don't like, you should try another country, not just America, but you should try, because you know over there it might be more suited to you. It's worked for me so far, and it's worked for other players. So.
I'm looking at your left forearm and the words "no risk, no reward" tattooed.
Exactly.
That is the advice you'd give them.
That's exactly the advice I would give.
Bradley Wright-Phillips. It's a beautiful thing to sit here as two Englishmen, both coming here with nothing, living out the American dream, one slightly more successfully than the other.
Don't say that.
That would be you. And I'll say to you and your Red Bulls teammates in this game, which is must-see television against NYCFC on Saturday, 1:30 p.m. on Fox Proper, we wish you Godspeed.
Thank you very much.